I'm Karan or Karan Singh Magic. I am a kind of a magician. What's that? I call myself a psychological illusionist. I mix modern magic with traditional psychology. And when you fuse the two, you can give the illusion that you read minds. First of all, thank you, Lavdeep, for inviting me. Thank you, TEDxAIIMS, for inviting me. Let's give them a round of applause for all they've done so far. I didn't get a chance to hear the rest of the speakers, but I wanted to, but that's okay. Let me give you an idea of what I do. First of all, if you're not a student of AIIMS, can you sort of raise your hand? Excellent, because doctors kind of terrify me. We'll try this. Keep your hands up. Ma'am, what's your name in the classes? Dista. Dista, can you join me on stage? And as she does that, we'll give her a round of applause as she's walking up. I have a book with me. It's one of my favorite books. It's called Fatal Sins. Should tell you about the kind of person that I am. We'll try something with this. Dista, take the book and go to the last page of the book. And when you're there, just tell us the number of pages that are there so that the Chromecast can hear. You'll have to come very close to my chest.
280.
280. Can you point to someone, not somebody you've come with?
That guy with the specs.
Guy with the specs. The doctor?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you to write something, but then I don't think that's a good idea to do if you're a doctor. I won't understand what you've written. Can you name a number between 1 and, what did you say, 200 and? 1, can you name a number between 1 and 280? 73. This time, can you turn to page 73 and we'll try this. Let us know when you're there. Every page in the book would have about 200, 250 words. And there are about 280 pages in that book, so that's about 5.6 million words that she could choose from. You're on page 73 right now. I want you to pick a word on that page. Don't tell us what it is. Make sure it's a nice long word. Don't pick something like an, at, the, of. At least 7 letters or longer and not a proper noun. You have something? I'll take the book. I'll keep it aside. So this time you're thinking of a word which is at least 7 letters long. What do you do this time?
I am a PhD.
You're a PhD scholar. Why was I invited to TED when you have PhD scholars and aspiring doctors? We try this. Okay, you're on page 73. You're thinking of one particular word. Look at them. Don't look at me. And I want you to think of the first letter of this word for me, and we'll try this. Just say that letter to yourself, just again and again. Just over and over. I might get the first part wrong. If I get the first part wrong, that'll tell me how this star thinks. Just keep saying that first. See how she's pursing her lips? A little bit of that. Is that a P? No. What's the first letter? Tell me.
You don't want to guess B.
B. Oh, P or B is sort of similar lip movement. We'll try this. Just keep saying the word to yourself just again and again. And whatever word you're thinking of this star, in your head, can you sort of categorize it into either a name, place, animal, thing, person of sorts in your head? Yeah? Okay. Imagine that in your head, whatever it is, and close your eyes for me and keep them closed. I'll write down which category I think it falls into. This stop. You didn't have to look. Did you see what I wrote? No. Okay. If you had to categorize a name, place, animal, thing, person, what would it be? Person. That is what I have. Thank you. I usually don't get applause on that, so thank you. We'll try this. Think of this word for me now. Where do you live this time?
I live in Delhi.
Where in Delhi?
Sukhdev.
Sukhdev. Okay, so imagine you're in Sukhdev, which is about 7-8 kilometers away. I'm over here, and it's your job to shout this word to me so loudly that me standing over here can hear you. But you only do that in your head.
Okay.
You keep saying that again, and again, and again, and keep your eyes closed. I'll show all of you what I think the word is. Don't react, keep it to yourself. That's a nice word to choose this time. I'm going to count backwards from 3. When I read 0 in your nicest, clearest public speaking voice, I want you to shout the word for everyone so that everyone knows. 3, 2, 1, 0.
Bartender.
Bartender, it is. We'll give this round of applause and we'll send her back. Thank you. Thank you. That's the essence of what I do. I am a psychological illusionist. I figure out what people are thinking of. But how did I get here?
All the words are bartender.
All the words are bartender. This was not that dumb. Here you go. When I was happy with that, what's your name? Madhav. Madhav, are you trying to be a doctor? Yeah. One person's going to come into into his clinic and say, I have fever. Do all your family have fever? We try this. Sorry, Mother. How did I get to this? What was my life story behind this? I was 3 years old is when my life story starts, because I have absolutely no memory of my life before that. No one does. I was 3 years old. My elder brother, 5.5 years elder than me, he used to go to school. My parents obviously used to work. I was in sort of nursery and prep, nursery KG. So my school used to be over by 11 in the morning. And I used to spend the day with my dada and my dadi, my grandparents. And my first memory of my life is my grandfather looking at me. He comes from Pakistan. I'm Sikh, so he spoke in a mixture of Urdu and Punjabi. He comes from Pakistan. I was 3 years old. He looked at me and he said, "Putter, zindagi mein kaam karo, to aisa karo कि काम को खुशी हो कि तुमने उसे किया." If you do something, do it so well that the work is happy that you did it. And that is primarily what my life is based on. That is completely, that one sort of line sums up everything that I've done in my life. And I want to try and impart whatever little I know onto you. I don't think, again, like I said, I'm probably not the best person to do that. But whatever I know about my life, I'll try and tell you, and if you can take something from it, fantastic. So 3-year-old me heard that quote. I've read that a few times again in my life after that, but my first memory is my dada saying that to me. And like I said, I based my life on it. For me, magic is not only my passion, it is something I very, very deeply love. And if you want to do something, you have to do it so well that you're happy that you've done it, the work is happy that you did the work, and the only way you can do that is if you love what you're doing. Whatever you do, if you're passionate about it, you have to be in love with it. And that's sort of true for your life as well. A lot of times we meet people when we're kids, 11 or 12 years old, for example, which is about the time that I got into magic. When you're 11 or 12 years old in that sort of 7th, 8th grade, sort of about to enter puberty, and you're in school and you sort of start playing truth and dare with your friends, and you say truth, and the first question you get asked is, who do you have a crush on? That's happened to all of us, and that's sort of true for me. If I was ever asked at the age of 11, who do you have a crush on, my answer actually would not have been magic. My answer would have been football. I wanted to play football for the country. I was 11 years old, I used to play for my school, I was fantastic at it. In my 8th grade, I was playing football, and while sort of dribbling through 3 defenders of Amity International, I was in Mothers International myself, this midfielder came, he tackled me, and I did a 720-degree flip and fell on my back, which then hit a brick. So I broke my back when I was in 7th, 8th grade. And I was told by doctors that you can't play football ever again. I mean, you can, but not regularly. You'll have very recurring pains in your back. And that was heartbreaking. I had learned 2 tricks by then. I was in 7th grade, I'd gone for the summer camp, and I learned 2 tricks back then. And I sort of based my hobby as magic and my profession as football. But when the doctors told me that you can't play football ever again, it was heartbreaking for me. And that will happen to all of you as well if you truly love something. With love, inevitably comes heartbreak. You can't have a life of love where there is just happiness. And that's not just true for your partners or your work. That's true for your family life as well. You love your parents or your siblings, but they will break your heart at times, and you will feel annoyed with them. The only thing you can do then is to sort of build on that and to work towards your relationship. That's exactly the same for your work. If you love it, it will break your heart more than anything else in the world. To perform, the cards fell thousands and thousands of times, and that was heartbreaking. So much so that when I went out and started performing for people, I went wrong then as well. With love, there inevitably will be heartbreak. It was heartbreaking for me when I was told, you can't play football. But I started doing magic. And it is something that caught my fancy. I was always this sort of attention-seeking kid, which I still am, but back then even more so. I wanted that attention. I wanted to go out there and get that attention. I was this awkward kid who didn't get any. Probably because I was striving for it. The more and more you go after something, the less the world wants to give it to you. That will always happen. I was striving for attention, I didn't get it. But when I started doing magic, I realized, hang on, this is getting me more attention than anything else has ever got me. I did get attention in football, but magic gave me attention as well. Don't get me wrong, I love performing, but I hate magic. I hate magicians. I think they're the most cheesiest, hokeyest, boring people in the world. The moment you think of a magician, your first thought is someone in a hat and a tuxedo, cutting someone in half, taking a rabbit out of a hat, with bikini cat girls dancing around on stage. It is probably the saddest profession anyone can be in. Their whole life revolves around coming up with these little tricks, showing them to people so that people ended up liking them. That's the whole life form of a magician. While I loved entertaining people, I did feel that slight disconnect because people thought that I'm fooling them. With this, me figuring out that she's thinking of a bartender, even though that's not the only word in the entire book. My job, yes, at some level, you were fooled and you were figuring out how could that be possible. But my main job was to entertain you. And hopefully I will continue doing that. After football, entertainment became my love. I loved the idea of walking into a room of people who are really, really sad. And when I leave, they're slightly happier than when they were before. And I've kind of based my life around that. I've kind of loved performing so much that that's all I've done. But how do you make a career doing something which people think is not something you can make a career out of? The honest truth of that is I have no idea. I had no idea why I get paid to be a magician. When I started performing, all I wanted to do was, there was this girl in my class called Priyanka Das. All I wanted to do was impress her. First trick I showed her in about 2003, 13 years ago. And I thought I had impressed her. 3 days later, she started dating my best friend. So it was heartbreaking to me there as well. But the point is that you have to be in love with what you are doing. And when you do that, you continue doing that, and there is nothing that can stop you from making a living out of it. I'll tell you what I did, and this is what I did. I don't know if it worked for you. It could, it might not. What I did, I performed for as many people as I could. Like I said, I loved the attention. I performed for my parents, my grandparents, my friends, my family, anyone who came over. As I started growing up, became a teenager, started going to parties, while everyone was dancing, smoking, drinking, experimenting with their lives for the first time. What I was doing was being introduced to people, and they said, "Hi, I'm XYZ. I said, "Hi, I'm Karan. Pick a card." That's what my life became. It was just performing for as many people as I could. For no pay, obviously, because I was just performing for friends and family, and I continued doing that. And in doing that, I started ignoring other things. And that will be true if you fall in love with someone. If any of you who are in a relationship right now or have been in a relationship in the past, you know that if you well and truly love someone, you begin to ignore other things here and there. You ignore your other friends, you ignore your families. Things like that will always happen. And that's okay. For me, I started ignoring studies. So much so that when I was in 10th grade, my pre-boards I got 27.1%. And my parents sort of confiscated my books and my cards, all my magic props, and said, study for your boards. If you do well, you get them back. And my dad knew that I'm not very good at studies. He knew that all year I've gotten about 27%, 25%. He said, if you get 80% in your boards, I'll take you anywhere in the world that you want to go. I wasn't much of a traveler back then. But I went online, and I saw that in November of that year, there was a man named Wayne Houchin, who used to make tricks for my idol back then, a man named David Blaine, who I'm sure a lot of you would have heard of. Wayne Houchin used to make tricks for David Blaine, and he was lecturing in Boston in November of that year. I thought, okay, I want to go for that. And I studied. I studied for 2 weeks, and my dad told me you get 80%. He thought there's absolutely no way I'm going to get 80%. The day of the result, this happens for all of you. When you're on the day of your board results, you're sort of sleeping. I mean, not sleeping. You're getting sleepless nights for weeks and days, and you're scared just before the results are going to come out. You're talking to your friends, all of you are shitting your pants. I was sleeping. My mom at 8:30 in the morning, 15 minutes after the result had come out, kicked me awake, said, "Kal wo result aa gaya." We went there, we opened the website, we checked. I got 80.1%. The first audience is applauding for 80%. And I got to go to Boston and attend that lecture from me in Houchin, and that changed my life. I was doing tricks with deck of cards, and I realized that that's not something I can make a living out of. There are magicians around the world who are doing the same thing. The moment you see a magician, the first thing you'll see him do is a card trick. And you know there's some sleight of hand or hot piece of eye involved. And that became annoying. That is not something that I was used to doing. I'm sorry, I might shoot slightly over time because I planned clearly. But that was my first story of performing as much as you could. My school ended. I got into college with a sick quota. I got into Khalsa College. If any of you are sort of trying to get into college, don't go to Khalsa. I ended up going to Khalsa College and I started performing for as many people there as I could, and I started getting invited for fests, and I started performing at fests. Again, not getting paid for any of it. I'm on stage performing, being happy that people are watching me perform. That for me was a kick enough. But the people at the theatre fest who saw me perform, they told their parents, we had this magician at our fest, he was fantastic, obviously. And those people started inviting me for their corporate performances. Every corporate does something every other month, and they started inviting me to perform for them. And I started getting paid to do that. And I felt very, very weird. Because people were paying to see something that I would have done for free. Till today, if I get paid to do it, I'm more than happy. Yes, obviously I need to get paid now because I have to make a living, but I'm more than happy to go out and perform for anyone who wants to see me perform. Because at the heart of it, I love it. Money is just something that's not a motivation to me. It's something that comes and I have to make a living out of it, so I need the money, but it's not a motivation at all. And it shouldn't be for any of you as well. If you're motivated by money, then you already failed. At least that's my thought process. You can disagree with it.